Good afternoon. My name is Mark Johnson. I'm editorial board chair of the CDO magazine and the executive leader of the strategic data management and analytics practice as regional vice president at a company called Fusion Alliance. Today, I have the great honor and privilege of interviewing Jon Campbell, who's director of library science for the media solutions group at Moody's Analytics. Jon, welcome to the interview today.
Great. Hi. Happy to be here.
Jon, as we get started in the interview, I'd like you to share a little bit about your background and sort of what your responsibility set is there at Moody's Analytics.
Sure. So at my core, I'm an information and data guy. I love data, information, helping people solve problems, helping them use data to solve problems. I'm the director of library science at the media solutions group at Moody's Analytics. I've been in the automated news industry for over 20 years. I'm in my current role for 14 years. We were acquired by Moody's 2 years ago, and it's been a great experience. I lead the enrichment team, and our goal is to enrich news and textual data with additional signals such as industries, subjects, locations, stock tickers, important people, and as well as signals such as sentiment and event classification, news clustering, anything that helps people use the news in ways that will help them solve their mission. On my team, I have a very talented team of library scientists, editors, data scientists, software engineers, and this core team helps us enrich the news.
Really interesting. So, Jon, there's a lot of power in the name. The product name is NLP Engine. What exactly does that mean?
Sure. So NLP stands for natural language processing, and this product's the natural language processing engine.
And what can you give our viewers who might not understand or know much about natural language processing? Can you give them some insight into what is actually happening in that domain?
Sure. Natural language processing, in a nutshell, is using the power of computers to analyze text.
And so we are seeing things like entity classification, categorization happening by analyzing the text and pulling information that's of similar nature and type and categorizing that. Is that essentially what's happening?
Exactly. Yeah. Using the analysis of text for, like you said, categorization, topic analysis, entity extraction, as well as signals such as sentiment, news clustering. You could use it for deduplication, summarization. The field is pretty wide.
Great. Lately, natural language processing has really moved to the fore of, innovation and capabilities within analytics. What made you bring NewsEdge natural language processing engine to market?
Right. So it's interesting you say that natural language processing is currently the hot topic. We've been doing it for over 2 decades. It's at the core of our business. So what we do is we enable decision-making using news. And our core engine processes news very, very quickly, a very high-speed pipeline. And in that processing, we do all of our categorizations for industry, subjects, location, organizations, a number of different facets. And that's what we use to run our business. Over the years, we've had customers come to us and say, hey, we love your technology, but we have a slightly different use case. It could be a publisher using their own content that they want to categorize and tag. It can be a algorithmic trading firm that has very high confidentiality standards that they want to run our software, but they want to do it in-house. So after hearing this and doing some custom projects over the years, we decided there's a product here. We did market analysis, and the time is right for this. There's a bunch of different intersections in technology. The cloud is enabling services such as this in ways that it was unheard of before in physical data centers. So, listening to the market, taking our capabilities, figuring out ways to standardize it and make it flexible caused us to go forward with this product.
That's really interesting. So it was a capability that you developed within the organization for the core business that you were operating in. that you then saw a marketplace opportunity to license or provide subscription access to for consumption by other organizations.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not only outside of our organization, it's also within the larger Moody's Analytics organization. There's a need to categorize their own textual content research reports, and this product fits perfectly both internal in an enterprise and for external customers. So it's a win-win across the board.
So, NLP, like you said, has been around for some time. What makes your particular implementation of the solution really unique or innovative?
Yeah. So great question. We have a long history, and I came to the conclusion early in my career, technology doesn't take you all the way there. It's a combination of technology and non-technology folks using that solution to answer their question or solve their problem. So we have very active feedback loops with our customers, with our QA staff, with our editorial team to constantly tune these models and not just run a model from point A to point B and use whatever results come out, but we're constantly pushing the envelope of making it better, critically analyzing the outputs and further improving the product.
Quite interesting. So, as you think about the problems that you guys address now with the solution, what are the key sort of problem areas or challenge areas that your product addresses that other NLP solutions can't touch?
There's a lot of different factors that come into play. Transparency, explainability. I'm using our tool. There's an explainability aspect where not only did we categorize something in a certain way, but we could show you why. There's certain mechanisms in place to do that. And especially in the environment now, cost is a huge factor. We have a fixed subscription model. It's a flat fee. Use it as much as you want on your server. You don't pay per transaction. It's a flat fee. CFOs love it because you can budget accordingly. There's no meter charge. There's no pay as you go. It's a set price. And that's and the other thing that's really great is it's maintenance free. We give you a container, you install it, we push updates out to you that get installed. All of that work, that's frankly a challenge on my part, hiring software developers, hiring data scientists, editorial people, library science people to keep these models going. We solve all that for you. We do all of that work ourselves and push the end result out to you.
Oh, very interesting. So I think the best way for our listeners or viewers to really understand the various types of applications is to maybe explore a few of the use cases that have fallen
Sure.
into commercialization. Can you, before we get started down that path, can you just give us a little view of the landscape of the different categories of use cases that you're solving for with the tool for your
Yeah,
customers?
sure. It runs the gamut in the business and government world. Anything from a law firm that has high confidentiality standards in place. Some blue sky firms that are looking to do M&A work, they don't want to put their information out in the public domain. They don't want to have those searches. Everybody says, oh, go to Google to do your searches. Once you start going to Google, then your searches become public. So this keeps everything in your house. You do research on your own original content. You could bring your own news feeds in. You could bring your own emails in internally, research reports. So there's a big need for it within that sector. In the law world, in government, there's certain, in the security sector, if you're analyzing large amounts of documents looking for security risks, fraud, that's another use case for this because it runs in your facility. It runs either on your own servers or in the cloud. Everything stays private. We push updates out to a FTP server, and customers can pull those down, but we don't go inside your architecture at all. There's no communication back from the software to our facility. So it's locked down in essence.
Is the
Yeah.
I was going to
Sorry.
say, is the product's architecture embracing an API framework from a composability point of view for integrations?
Yeah, inside the firm, there's an API that they could use to pull the results. We use JSON, which is basically the standard these days. So there's APIs can be constructed to access that JSON and draw insights internally in a news application, in a competitive intelligence application, in a dashboard, in a widget, in an alerts function. The sky's the limit because we use such a simple standard architecture on the output side.
Awesome. Well, I think maybe if you have an opportunity or you have something prepared for us to share what this might look like, we could go ahead and
Sure.
demo.
Yeah. So the use case I'll show you, since it's a cloud-based system, I'll show you an internal tool that we use that uses the underlying architecture. And what I'm going to show you is a scenario where there's a company that does overseas road construction and infrastructure repair. They bring in news feeds from various sources and they do original research, but they also have emails that go back and forth between the executives and the teams. And what I'll do is show you.
There it is.
See something that says Workbench now?
Yeah, it's up now.
So what we have here is in the part where it says story, that's just simple text that gets submitted to this tool. And what we see happening on the top part, this is all the entity extraction and categorization. From this small piece of text here, we're able to pull out these different organizations: G4S Risk Management, United Nations Office, certain locations, certain topics such as sales and contract wins, United Nations. This particular story is about the UN giving a contract to another company. So that would show that an organization's bringing in a news feed and certain competitor information's coming up. Maybe some geopolitical events are coming through here as well. But what also happens in business behind the scenes is somebody might have insight to that story and might write an email to say, hey, competitor got this bid. Let's keep on top of this and make sure that we don't lose something else. So this is just a simple email that Jim wrote to Bill about this contract going out. And they mentioned some various locations. And what we see here is a bunch of their competitors that were mentioned in the email, some locations, and some topics. Now, what I showed you are two disconnected stories. But if you take these two stories, you can now link them. One is a news story in the public domain, one's an internal email. This goes right into a sales dashboard where you could see opportunities that are presenting themselves and competitor activities and any next steps that you want to do beyond that. So this is just a small taste of what you could do using NLP Engine. So the uses are, the sky's the limit with how you want to connect your information at this point. And since it's in your own cloud, this is all proprietary information once you process the news or the emails or the research reports.
Oh, very interesting. Now, I'm assuming the solution is pretty performant in terms of large data sets to be analyzed. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, we grew up in the financial services industry in sub-second news delivery. So speed is paramount with us. In our normal business, we process close to 1 million news stories a day, and we process them sub-second, 20 to 30 stories at a time on various multi-threaded servers. And we put that technology into the product. So there's not, throughput is never an issue. A story like this will categorize in less than a second.
Really powerful. Well, thanks for
Yeah.
sharing the example with us, the demo. So, John, if our viewers are interested in learning more about what the capabilities are and the various use case opportunities for the product, how would they get that information?
Just go to newsedge.com or moodysanalytics.com, and all the information you need you can find there.
Awesome. That's pretty straightforward. Well, thanks again for spending some time with me today. Your voice is the kind of voice that we like to amplify in CDO Magazine. John, thanks again for spending some time with me in the interview today.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
So today we've been talking with Jon Campbell, Director of Library Science in the Media Solutions Group of Moody's Analytics, and it's been a fascinating conversation. For more content of this nature, please be sure to tune in to cdomagazine.tech and look for the various topics that you're interested in learning more about. Thanks again and have a great day.